Hey, Sam Nelson coming to you live from Precious World Mobile Studios on the way to look at a property. And with that being said, if you haven't gotten your first deal, I want to talk to you. If you haven't gotten your first or even second deal, I want to talk to you. I want you to listen to this and to listen very clearly, because I know when you go to those seminars, they give you a lot of information. A lot of it, it's okay information, but it's not really all the golden nuggets. And I know that a lot of folks that goes to those seminars, and they have the stats themselves that 95% of the folks that attend those seminars don't do a thing. And they've gotten their 20 or 30 or 40 or even $50,000 from those students. And I suspect that if you're looking at this video, you possibly could be one of those, and you just really are anxious to get your first deal done. I can tell you that it took me 10 months before I got my first deal done, but that was because I wasn't doing the right things. It doesn't take 10 months to do a deal. It doesn't take 10 months. I wasn't putting my energies and my focus is on the right things. But the good news is I was able to get a deal done. Sam Nelson here. I've been in the real estate game for almost 5 years. Done a little north of 100 transactions of a variety of different types. I will also tell you that wholesaling is just one strategy. So there's a lot of one-trick ponies out there that if you're a one-trick pony, you're only able to do one or two strategies. Then there's definitely meat on the table that you're not getting. So I'm making this video because, like I told you, I'm going to check out a spot. At least attempt to, and I want to make sure, for one, that you take this recommendation. Never, ever buy a property and involve yourself in a property sight unseen. Sight unseen. My very, very first mistake in real estate was, there were some mistakes prior to mistakes, but because before I went full time, I actually owned properties and did some rentals. But when I kind of learned some of the information on how you really work in the real estate space, I recognized that on those rentals I wasn't even really making money. It was tying up my money, because you have to know actually how to buy and how to manage that process. Just because you go and bought a duplex doesn't mean you're making any money. And I know there's a lot of wannabes and think they know it alls and all of this, that kind of think they know, that they feel good. Oh, I'm getting ready to go buy something right now, and what kind of cash flow I'm going to get. It doesn't necessarily mean you're actually making money. I'm in real estate full time now as a business, and I would tell you the very first mistake that I made was having capital, was going and buying properties off of trust and sight unseen. And there's a lot of these companies out there promoting that you can do business virtually. Yeah, you don't even have to go there. You can buy in other states and then flip it to somebody else and all that. I'm gonna tell you that is hogwash, and it will affect your credibility in the field. This is why. For one, when I bought those properties sight unseen for my personal portfolio, I overpaid, for one. And most new investors that don't know really what they're doing always overpays. I can tell you a lot of that is happening right now in the Austin market, where I'm based out of. The number one city to live in America has been rated the number one for the third year in a row. And that is a metric that goes into the real estate game. But we've been number one for 3 years in a row. We're at the top of the peak of the real estate cycle, which in this locality, the real estate cycle was up 5 years, down a couple, up 5, down a couple. Now we're up like 8 with no correction. So we are waiting on a correction. And a lot of newbies out here are actually buying these properties, going through these guru seminars and buying them at a price too high. And so when the market corrects, they're going to have a problem. So I happened to buy, not here, but I bought in another state virtually. And I was having problems keeping tenants in the property with the property manager that I had employed. And come to find out, first of all, like I said, just the numbers in itself, I bought too high, bought off of trust. Secondly, the community and knowing the metrics and the trends that was happening in that community was on a downtrend. And when I actually went to visit the community, this was in a place in Missouri, or not Missouri, yeah, Missouri. It was border of Missouri and Illinois, so it was kind of outside of the St. Louis area. When I went to visit, it was like in the slum ghetto. Just, it was the worst of the worst when it comes to the crack areas. And so I have to be honest, I end up having to foreclose on that. When I bought the property, I bought half with my money, which was a lot of money, and half with a loan. And when I found out that the property was not in the condition that I expected to be, and I won't get into all the story, but I stopped paying on the loan because I was just throwing money away. And secondly, I tried to see about, trying to sell it really quick. I wanted to even sell it for an investor. And the numbers were so bad in that thing, I ended up talking to an attorney saying, hey, listen, what can I do to get out of this situation? And I can tell you, these were real estate attorneys, and they were willing to buy. They were local there. And they looked at it and they said, well, what you owe on this thing and what you in for it for, you'll be better off letting it foreclose. And so I had to let it foreclose because it was the best business decision at that time. I didn't want to continue to keep putting money into it with the problems that we were having, code violations, couldn't keep tenants. The rents wasn't really that great. My spread was only a few $100s, but with all the headache of everything that was going into it, I wasn't making any money on them. And so I want to encourage you, first of all, never buy anything sight unseen. Now, there's another way that you can do it, but it requires you to have a power team. It requires you to have people that you know, like, and trust. And more importantly, that also know, like, and trust you. And so if you have areas that you know people in that don't mind going and taking some pictures for you of a property that you are interested in, have them go and do that. And the one thing I always tell my mentees, pictures, pictures, pictures. You can never really take too many pictures. Now, of course, you want to get some strategic things like the water heater and the HVAC system and the electrical systems. I like some strategic things where I'm taking pictures of those serial numbers on those respective items. But taking all four corners of the kitchen, all four corners of the living area, some of the bedrooms, things of that nature, the roof, the outside, the inside, pictures, 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 because pictures don't lie. Sometimes they do, if you go through those professionals that like to do all the Photoshop stuff to put it on the market in MLS. But most of the time in investor pictures and just going to get pictures, those items don't lie. It doesn't really give you everything, but it's helpful to know about worth. And if you happen to have someone in the area that can go and take a look at the property for you, and when I say not only that you know, like, and trust, but I mean know, like, and trust you, because that's a big difference. Because you want to make sure the information you're getting back is solid. Let me give you another situation that is also dangerous. And here's some real world street information that you want to know. So I tried to do something remotely, and I knew someone within my community that also had ties to this remote area in Arkansas that I was very familiar with, because I used to live there for a minute. And there was someone that had contacted me about, selling their property to me. And I actually went on ahead and put it under contract based off of the numbers. He had sent me some pictures, but they really weren't enough pictures for me to feel that comfortable with. I had someone in my community that also had ties to that area of Arkansas that was traveling there. And he went up and said, he's interested in properties up there himself, and he's doing fix and flips and all this stuff. So he was interested. Well, he went on up there and told me that when he got there, the property was in much worse condition than what I had conveyed to him. Much worse condition. So, one or two things is happening in this situation. One could be that when he got up there, it actually was in worse condition than what I told him, which affects my credibility to be able to do deals in this market with these folks that I have to do deals with. Because if they think I'm putting out bad criteria, bad properties, bad numbers, things of that nature, you lose credibility. That can prevent you from getting your first deal done. That can prevent you from getting any deals done, because, believe it or not, the community is somewhat pretty small, and for the most part, a lot of us know each other in one way or another. So, very important. So that's one way that you can be hurt in not being able to get a deal done, because you are doing it virtually and you're putting out information that is not accurate, and the folks that you're trying to do business with is calling you out on that, saying, hey, this is bad. Now, here's another situation. And this is where, when I say they know, like, and trust you is more important than you knowing, liking, and trusting them. Because if they know, like, and trust you, they want to do you right. Well, this person that I had sent up there didn't necessarily know, like, and trust me. It was someone that I kind of knew of, barely. I didn't know him. He didn't really know me, but I know he was one in the game. So long story short, he actually did buy the property, but what he did, he wanted my contract to be expired, of course, because once he told me that that the property was in worse condition than he was led on to be, my contract ended. I didn't have the clauses that I know I normally would put in clauses with, first right of refusal and things of that nature. I didn't have those kind of clauses there. And when my contract had ended, not to mention, I wouldn't have went after it anyway, because I had no clue. I didn't have the information I need to feel comfortable with. So I ended up letting it go, and he ended up renegotiating with that seller, obviously a much better deal in person, and that lead that came to me, I lost. I lost. It was a sale. It just wasn't a sale at the numbers that initially he was trying to get and what he wanted, and at the end what he would feel comfortable walking away with. And because I wasn't there, and because I didn't have anybody there that know, like, and trust me, listen, this man took advantage of my lead. Was it legal? Yes. Was it ethical? Not really. But in this game, ethics, there's a lot of dog-eat-dog stuff out there. So I wanted to share this information with you, that never buy a property sight unseen or without good, valid, valuable, trustworthy information that it could either hurt you or someone can backdoor you. And if you hadn't done your first deal and you've been trying, but you just still can't make it happen, that could be why. And I wanted to share that information with you. Listen, if you're interested in getting more real on the street knowledge from me, feel free to follow, connect, and share, like, subscribe. I don't know where you're seeing this video at, but you guys know this social media stuff probably even better than I. But I do want to be able to help those that have been taken advantage of, paying all this money for these courses and things of that nature and not able to get their first deal. You are my audience. You are the one that I'm going after to try to help, because I know how hard it is to do that on your own. I know when you don't have a mentor, you really don't know what you don't know, because information in this business only comes from someone that's in the business doing it. You don't get this in a classroom. You don't get this in these seminars. You don't get this in college. You don't get this at a real estate license school. You get this information from folks that is in the game, in the street, doing it. And again, in many cases, these seminars are not sharing the golden nuggets, or what we call the golden nuggets. They give you a lot of stuff to get you excited and happy, and you get the glitz and glam, but they're not really giving you the full golden nuggets. So I wanted to share this information. Please subscribe, follow, and if you want to reach out, you know how to direct message me, Sam Melson. I'm on Facebook. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Instagram. Even on Twitter. I don't know all of my names, but my name is not that difficult. Sam Melson, M as in Mary, ELSON. You can Google that. My one of my businesses is Precious World Housing Solutions. You can Google that. It's also on Facebook. I have a fan page, and I also have a private group that I'm inviting anyone that want mentorship to, that I can share even more golden nuggets and more information. And plain and simple, I want to help you, walk you through getting your first deal or your second deal, and then hopefully beginning a trend of you getting your real estate business finally established. So if you're good with that, I'm good with it. I want to know how I can help you. Reach out, and until then, I'll see you at the top, because the bottom sure is crowded. God bless. Bye-bye.